Cybersecurity is essentially a concept that applies to people making sure that every time they interact with something technological, whether it be email, text message, website links, they pay careful attention to make sure that the information that they transmit and the links that they click on are secure or otherwise not phishing for information or taking things without knowing and having consequences flow from that, like stolen money or viruses or things like that. I think it's just a matter of numbers. There's so much opportunity for particularly foreign hackers and cyber phishers and people who are trying to gain access to systems that it's just a matter of statistics before it's going to happen in Rhode Island. And it's no surprise that it happens in Rhode Island. I'm involved in two big cases right now involving cyber attacks and ransomware attacks. So I think it's unfortunately going to be the norm. And it's not going to be the exception to the rule anymore because the numbers are just so staggering with the amount of activity that's happening from the other side of the world most often in trying to get access to people's accounts, bank accounts, and personal information. Well, the college community is interesting because we have such an open network environment where we have thousands typically of people accessing the internet, exchanging information, exchanging files. So college community, just like a hospital or any other institution of that type, has not only confidential information like academic records and financial information, it's a ripe target for cyber criminals because on one campus, you can have health information, you can have financial information, credit information, academic transcript information. It is a treasure trove of information, just like a hospital or a bank would be. Well, the weakest link everywhere for cybersecurity are people like me and you. We are the ones who are most often the weakest link, who start a cyber attack because we've clicked on something, we've downloaded something, we've trusted something we shouldn't have done. So I think the most important thing for each of us to remember, whether on a campus or working in a business, is that if something bad happens by way of a cyber attack, it's going to usually come through us because we've done something that we weren't careful of, we were too trusting. So the best advice I have for anyone wanting to minimize the attacks is distrust always and verify before you do something like click on a link or reply to someone or give your information out. So again, you could have the best forensic technical firewalls in the world, but those are going to fail if the people fail. So TikTok is interesting because it is a Chinese-owned firm, and the concern with TikTok, in addition to the fact that it takes a lot of time of our teens and adults, is there's a major national security concern that so much information about us and our habits and our viewing habits and our activities and things we're interested in is being aggregated and stored in such a way and transmitted over to a country who has no privacy protections like we have. So the concern by not only the federal government, but more and more state governments and large companies is that they don't want that app anywhere on devices where confidential or proprietary information is secured, because there's just not as much protection as you might get under the laws that might apply to an American company, for example, or a German company. So it's primarily an international security concern than it is anything else. As long as there's technology and the internet and people, we're going to have to deal with cybersecurity. It's just going to get more complex. The current trend right now is what's called social engineering, which is where these cyber attackers are mimicking human behavior and emotion in a way that is intended to reduce our guard and make us trust what we shouldn't be trusting. So it's not just like the old scam from across the world where you know it's a scam and you delete the email. They're getting very sophisticated, and they are really playing on our emotions, on our weaknesses. For example, first thing in the morning is a ripe time for people to have their guard down because they're trying to get through their email. They want to get things off their desk, so they tend to make those mistakes at particular parts of the day, and the bad actors know that, so they're going to try to take advantage of that. So the social engineering, I'll give you an example, is a common one would be someone got onto someone's computer system and had monitored the email traffic for weeks or maybe months and determined who comes in the office early because they start emailing, and then they take control of that person's email and send usually a directive to a subordinate employee saying there's an emergency. I need you to go get gift cards to reward the staff. Don't tell anybody. Those types of social engineering schemes are very common, and those are pretty unsophisticated. The ones that get more sophisticated involve spoofing phone numbers and phone calls and things like that. So typically the email is the one where it happens the most, but you can see it happening also with text messages and then a phone component as well. Well, it depends on the situation, obviously. It's going to depend on who your role is, what your position is. If it's just a personal individual, what I would do is change all my passwords immediately, set up what's called two-factor authentication, which means that you'll get that text message to confirm your identity, and then either contact your bank, or if you think someone got into your credit card or your banking information, your doctor's office, you want to contact them and at least give them a heads up that you may have been suspected a victim of an attack, and see if they have any recommendations for you. For example, a doctor's office could possibly delete your file from their system and re-upload it in a different format. There's many different ways. Keep an eye on your credit report. Keep an eye out for any alerts. You may want to put on a credit freeze, which means that nobody could get credit in your name, even you, without authorization. So there's a bunch of potential paths forward that you would take depending how much information you think might have been exposed.